Good evening. Welcome to the 12-Man podcast, live on Facebook, on YouTube, on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, The Red. All your good places to listen to your podcast and your general chit-chat for the week. Got me, Steve Jackson, I'm your host for the evening. Got Mr. John Donovan with us in his retro gear. Evening, JD.
Hello, mate. Okay.
Good. How are you?
All right. Yeah. What else can be expected?
Well, we started on it. Fitness update. Yeah. Here we go.
Well, just hobbling about. Hospital tomorrow to get the brace altered slightly, so I've got a bit more movement in my knee, but still confined to barracks, I suppose. Can't really get out. But anyway, yeah, I'm not in any pain. Not with my knee anyway. With my football team, I am.
Confined to barracks, you sound like Arthur Borough team, so I wouldn't worry about it. You're in good company. And we've also got Mr. Jacob Jervis with us. Evening, Jake, you all right?
Evening, you okay?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, pretty good, thanks.
Rebooked your theory test yet?
No, not yet.
Oh dear. I was trying to start on a positive there, never mind. So someone's already put in the comments, please don't mention yesterday. No, we don't plan on to, so yes, something happened yesterday. I don't want to talk about it. So anyway, we're going to talk about. I do that, but my tattoo is actually like faded now, so you can't really see it. But yes, mum's the word. So we're going to talk about QPR, big home win. Made hard work of it in the end. But it did bring up our first prediction and anytime score of the season.
Yep, the first double.
First double, hip hip hooray. Thanks to the guy who's doing his physio sessions at the moment, so he's got plenty of time to think about his predictions, so well done. We'll obviously go into that. We'll talk about Luton. Voted the best away day in the Championship. I can see why. It is a great away day, Luton. And yeah, we'll talk about the running. Obviously, we're at the international stage now. People have broke up for 2 weeks and things like that. I make it sound like half term, don't I?
Steve, can I just interrupt? Where was that poll, by the way? Where was that poll that voted Luton the best away day?
I'd have to find it, but people have voted Luton as the best ground to visit, you know.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's class, mate. Proper old school. I like it.
Oh, don't get me wrong. It is old school. There's no denying that. But yeah, to be classed as the best football away day in the Championship, fair enough. Some might like it.
Yeah, some do, some don't. I mean, there is better ones out there for me. But hey, maybe we'll talk about that next week. Your best away day in the Championship. Because we'll have to get used to it because we're probably staying here next year. Unless a miracle happens. So, before we start, are we both all right? Are we both all good?
Yeah.
Yeah, good, thanks.
Okay, so we'll start with Tuesday night, and I'll start with excuse me. I will start with yourself, John Don, because you did get the score right. You did get the anytime goal scorer.
Yeah, plucked out of thin air. It wasn't. It wasn't a studied formula. It was just right. Yeah, okay. I'll say 2-1, and I'll say Tommy Conway. It was pure luck.
Right, we've seen the clip. You were quite confident in your words. You're like 2-1, Tommy Conway. It's like you knew. It's like you sat there already and gone, you know what, that's happening.
No.
But yeah, comfortable. It was comfortable for about 60 minutes. Then they scored, and then it was a very nervy finale in which their keeper nearly scored the equaliser. It was quite a weird game, but 2 well taken goals by the Borough.
Yeah. I think when we were previewing the game, we discussed how both teams were on a poor run. Didn't know how it would go because obviously as Borough fans, we know how poorly we've been performing recently, and managed to scrape wins against Stoke and Derby beforehand, who were terrible terrible teams, and we scraped past them. And QPR disappointed me on the night. They weren't much better than the standard of Stoke or Derby, but I thought we played a little bit better, and I thought we showed we gave some good individual performances. We were worried, weren't we, about our centre half pair and the fact they've got a big guy up front who's scored quite a few goals. So then, obviously, a big aerial threat. But we managed him. We managed him comfortably. And yeah, the scoreline was close, I suppose. But I think overall we deserved the win.
We did. I mean, yeah, they did have a big guy out front, which Jacob did predict the score, by the way. And QPR win 1-0. But we won't dig into that too much. But let's talk about our centre-back pairing, Jacob, because obviously Howson and Borges were the two that took the reins on Tuesday night. And you would never think they weren't natural centre-halves because the way they played, comfortable. I loved the passion they showed as well. And I thought they were really, really good. And they suited each other's style really well as well.
Yeah, I think it showed actually how I've mentioned this before of when we've signed defenders and we've tried to play football out from the back for 3.5 seasons, and sometimes we don't seem to recruit centre halves that are naturally comfortable on the ball still for some reason. And I feel like obviously Howson being a midfielder, actually playing at centre half allowed us to play the ball out from the back much better. We seem to have a bit more of a tempo, a bit more of a flow in the first half about our passing, getting in the final third. We had much more final third entries in that game than previous games. And really, I think it was disappointing that we weren't 3 up really in the first half an hour. I think the first half an hour, I think we looked much better. Sadly, we didn't carry it on for the full game, but there was definite signs of improvement. And like I said, going back to the defence, yeah, both did very well, and I think they helped us play out. And I think they did a better job than what our other centre backs have been doing, playing on the ball wise.
Yeah, I'd agree with that because it seemed to flow a bit more going through the field. Like it didn't look as uncomfortable when the centre half pairing got it, which was really good. Helped with our style of play. There were still moments, like you said, where you were like, "Oh God, here we go again." But no, we stuck through it. They say it was a difficult last 20 minutes, but John, the goal of the night for me, I'm pretty sure I've seen it before. I'm sure I saw it at Elland Road in August.
Yeah, I know which one you mean. Obviously, you mean in Dykesdale's.
Yeah.
But I was more impressed with our first goal, to be honest. I mean, I think we've been talking most of the season about having bite, bottle, passion, fight in the midfield, because we seem to be too soft, so much of a soft touch. But when our first goal, how it started was a crunching, fair but firm tackle from from Hayden Hackney, and that's what you want to see. There was no malice in it. Both players went in for it, full blooded. Both got up after it, and Howson won the ball and played it into the sort of left-hand channel to Finn Azaz, and he put a beautiful ball across at Tommy Conway, tapped home. Now, that was a simple striker's goal, I suppose, but I just thought the build-up to it was something I love to see. So it's something that we've missed, a proper tough football. So, yeah, I was really pleased with that goal. And then, yeah, like you say, Dykesdale's second goal in the second half was, it was just a carbon copy of Leeds. Stroked in lovely with his left foot. Yeah, and that gave us the 2-goal cushion that made it a bit more comfortable for the rest of the game.
Yeah, it did. I can see where you're coming from with the first goal because They say we pressed from the front and it worked. They say forced a mistake. I thought, like you said, Hackney's tackle was brilliant. They say it was exactly what I think it's something we exactly asked for, wasn't it? Last week we wanted a bit more something going at the tackles, not half-hearted. We wanted a bit more, not effort, but you know what I mean, like a bit more control about their aggression and pushing it. And that's exactly how he got the ball, didn't he?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you look at the game against Luton. I know we'll come on to that, but just because we're talking about Hayden Hackney, he done a clumsy foul on Isaiah Jones and picked up another card.
Yeah.
You know, most of his cards this season have been for pettiness or clumsiness. You know, if you're going to get a card, make it worthwhile. He should have got a card against Swansea by bringing that Eon. He should have brought him down and got a card then. I would have thought more of him. But, you know, yeah, great challenge. Set up that goal against QPR. And like I say, got the second, we could breathe a bit easier.
Because, I mean that goal, Jacob, from Dijksteel, it just showed what we can do. We're on the front foot, a bit going forward, a bit more, a bit more purpose, a bit more control. I know it's obviously took the right back to do it, but it was a brilliant finish. As soon as he hit it, you saw it go in the bottom corner. There was nowhere else it was going.
No, it was a great goal. You know, I really liked Dijksteel. I've always really liked him. I don't think Carrick actually rates him as much as he should sometimes, seemingly to the press and stuff. But you know, I think when he's available, regardless of options, he should always play. I think he's had a good season when he's been in the team. Yeah, and you know, it's nice to see him add a couple of goals to his game randomly, but you know, he's got a good dribble on him. He's got a decent pass. He links up quite well with whoever's playing out wide. He's on the overlap. So yeah, I think he's a good player. He's had like I said, a good season, and it was a very good goal.
Yeah, absolutely. It made life comfortable. Obviously, the goal we conceded, I wasn't delighted with. It was a bit of a mix up at the back. You know, he was picking up when he was supposed to be picking up, and they're all just basically looking at each other as the ball went to the back of the net, which is a bit disappointing. We hung on. Obviously, the keeper came up last minute. As soon as it fell for him in that free header, I looked and I went, "Oh God, no!" But luckily, he proved why I was a keeper. He put it straight into Travers' hands. Because Travers did make a couple of saves as well, second half. Obviously, I'm going to talk a little bit more about Travers, obviously, for the Luton game because of what he did. Because I thought he was magnificent on Saturday. But before I move on to that, I'll ask you both, who was your man of the match for Tuesday? I'll start with you, John.
No,
Go on, Jacob. I'll start with you.
I'll give it to Howson. Just because according to Carrick, he hadn't trained. You know, he got shot back in, and again, like always, you couldn't tell really. He didn't look out of place. He didn't look tired. He played to his strengths. He played to his fitness levels, and I think, you know, as bad as Middlesbrough have been at times this season, you do still wonder if he'd been available for every game, would there be 9 or 10 points better off? Because he does seem to lift the performance of others when he's on the pitch. So it would certainly be interesting.
Definitely. Yeah, I thought Howson was brilliant. John?
Yeah, John Howson, a captain's performance, a performance of experience. You know, he conserved his energy. He didn't go tearing about needlessly. And like I say, it's down to his experience. He was out of position, but he didn't look it. He was great.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. I'd probably say Johnny Howson myself. I'll give a massive mention to Neto Borges again. I thought he was brilliant. I think he's really found a position he's very comfortable in. I know Carrick mentioned after the Luton game, it's not going to be a permanent fix for him. He will be going back out to left back, which is fair enough. But I think since he's settled now, I think Neto Borges has been brilliant, and I can't really question him. His passion, his love for defending, I mean, you saw the big cheer he let out in front of the South stand, second half. I think he guided the ball out for a goal kick. The passing he showed then, I thought, yeah, that's my kind of defender, that. Might not be the greatest player in the world, but he knows what it means. I can't really... Especially after watching that interview he did as well with the Borough. That really did open my eyes a little bit about how much he's settled into the club and stuff. So, yeah, I'd definitely give him a mention. Before I talk about Luton, obviously, Jack Dobson's popped up. He's said in the comments there, it was heart in the mouth stuff when the keeper popped up and the ball hit his head for the last minute. Completely agree. I was exactly the same. He's doing something for charity. He's got something on his Facebook page at the moment. Middlesbrough have kindly donated him a signed football. He's got a what's them things called? I was going to say a scratch card, but it's not a scratch card. Someone help me.
Blind card?
Blind card, that's it. I keep saying scratch card because obviously you scratch out the winner, don't you?
It's written down in front of you.
It's
just couldn't see it.
You just can't see it. A bit like my scratch card. So yes, if he has said 14 numbers left. They are dwindling. I know he's watching at the moment, so put me down for 2 random ones, Jack. I'll send you some cash. Yes, get in touch with him. Get the fills. It's a really good charity that he's working for as well. So
yeah.
He's doing really fantastic at the moment. He's raising a lot of money for the Lewy body dementia walk that he's doing with his mate Robbie. I know Robbie really well as well. So yeah, get in touch with him. Give him some cash. Help him raise some more money. There you go, Jack. All done for you. Right, we'll talk about Luton. So, Luton. I don't know how I felt about Luton. At no point did I feel before the game, this is probably blind faithless, we would get beat. I don't know why. I thought we won't get beat here. And I thought we'd nick it. Obviously, I was wrong, obviously. But and I wish I'd picked 0-0 instead of Tuesday night. But, Jacob, I'll start with you, because we were talking about the defence and how we had to grind it out. We really had to stick in that first half, didn't we, against Luton? We really had to dig our heels because when you obviously put the 90 minutes together, they came out and thought, first 45, we can get at these, get an early goal, and we'll finish these. And they really tested us at the back.
Yeah, I think it was probably lucky they were a team out of confidence. I think Morris and Adebayo haven't scored for 20 games between them. It's something ridiculous like that. So I think if they were on more form, we'd have found ourselves a couple of goals down. I actually don't think we defended well. I know people probably say we might have defended well because it was 0-0, but we give away 4 clear chances. So I don't think we defended well. I don't think we defended very well as a team. We hung on, but like I said, that doesn't mean we defended well. No, I thought it was really underwhelming. Again, we seem to be very, very bad at following games up. So we've clawed a win, we've hung on, we've played all right against QPR, and then it always feels like we regress. The next game, like Swansea, we went to Swansea hoping we'd get something, and then it's very lackluster. And then we go to Luton thinking, can we get a draw, but put in a good performance, or can we nick this game against bottom of the league? Because that's what they are. They were bottom of the league pretty much before the game. They aren't a great side and they've struggled. Other teams have beaten them, but we just, again, it was another bang average team that could have been 3 or 4 ahead against us, and it is a bit worrying.
It is a bit worrying. You are right. I know when I said we had to dig in, we did dig in, but we say the performance just wasn't there. We had nothing on Saturday. We had nothing. I'll talk about what Michael Carrick said after the game in a little bit, because I really did have to read it twice to make sure I've read what I've read. But John, do you agree with that? Obviously, I'm not even going to ask you to man of the match because it was obvious it was Mark Travers. He made 4 or 5 unbelievable saves in the first half. They were guilty themselves of missing a couple of chances. I know Asgard missed one underneath his crossbar. Carlton Moy should be doing better. I know Travers saved that, but we've got a hell of a keeper between the sticks. And obviously, people highlight the couple of mistakes he's made since he's been here, but the saves he made Saturday, there was 2 that were absolutely unbelievable. I can't remember who made the shot. It might have been Adebayo. It was quite a reflex right hand down to low to his, obviously to his right, and yeah, unbelievable keeper. I hope if we can keep him, I'd love to keep him.
Yeah, I mean, he must have wondered what he was coming to. He was doing nothing at Bournemouth, really, was he? Getting games in their reserves, in their reserve team, and then he comes to Middlesbrough and he's getting bombarded, really, and having to pull out man of the match performances, which thankfully for us, he's done so, because if it hadn't been for him, yeah, we would have been out of sight by half time on Saturday. And I know, Jacob, you said you didn't think that the defence played well. I'll agree with you, but they got absolutely no protection from midfield at all. And to me, that midfield for me is the most important sort of area of the team. It's your first line of defence. It supports and creates the forward movement, the attacks, and it was absolutely paper thin on Saturday. You know, we just couldn't stop them, and how on earth we got through that first 45 minutes without conceding. It still baffles me today. Yes, we had great saves from Mark Travers, but again, some absolutely appalling finishing from the likes of Asgard and other players in the Luton shirt. Yeah, I was absolutely amazed. At half time, it was 0-0.
Yeah,
and as much as I was amazed, I was, it was awful to see how poorly we played generally, in that first half. It wasn't just a case of the midfield not doing the job for the defence. They also didn't keep hold of the ball. They didn't slow the play down. They didn't knock it long for Conway to run onto. I won't say for Iheanacho to run onto, because he wasn't very mobile at all on Saturday. But sometimes we just never give ourselves a chance to breathe in that first half. And thankfully, we come out of it on level terms.
Yeah, they capitalised on the surroundings, Luton, didn't they? They made a small ground even smaller and made it even more compact and very claustrophobic at times, where we couldn't really get out and do what. Obviously, we do talk about Hackley quite a bit in the midfield, but I just want to talk about Aidan Morris a little bit, because obviously he's come under a little bit of criticism now last few games, and I can see where it's coming from. I'll start with you, John. When he joined the club, he was absolutely magnificent, brilliant, until obviously we lost him after the international break in November. Since he's come back, we haven't quite seen the same sort of player, have we?
No. I mean, he started the season fantastically well. He looked like he was going to be the player of the season in his earlier performances. But recently, whether or not that's coincided with the rest of the players struggling, he has struggled, clearly. I mean, Saturday against Luton, he played a ridiculous back pass, which was nowhere near another but a player, and it almost resulted in a Luton goal. But thankfully, Travers pulled off another decent save. Yeah, he's struggling at the moment, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Jacob, your opinion on Aidan Morris at the moment?
Yeah, I don't think he's been as good, since he come back from his injury. But I certainly don't think he's been worse or the worst player or worse than anyone else. I think obviously the team's been through a pretty bad spell for the last couple of months, and maybe he's trying to overcompensate for. Or we're under pressure, we're dying to score a goal, we're dying for 3 points, and sometimes people try so hard. They sometimes they just they bring the coolness out of the game and the calmness. And I think that's one thing he had at the beginning of the season. He's very calm, cool on the ball, which is obviously difficult the more matches you lose.
Yeah, I agree with that. When you do tend to try a bit harder with stuff, and I suppose over try, mistakes do creep into whatever you kind of do. So I fully get that. Like yourself with your theory test. I'm not joking. But no, I completely get where you're coming from. I just don't feel we've seen the same Aidan Morris since he's come back from injury, which is such a shame as well. Because, like you said, he started the season unbelievably, and it got to the point we were speaking in November, December, thinking we might not be able to keep all this lad here. He was that good. But yeah, one place I want to talk about. Michael Carrick referred to this as, I'm not really concerned about it. Well, I am. We didn't have a shot on target on Saturday. Again.
After one at Swansea.
Yeah, exactly. One at Swansea. I think we only had 3 or 4 against QPR. We didn't have many. John, is this becoming a real issue? We really haven't recovered since we lost Latte for me. I know Conway's scored a few goals. I forget that. I'm looking at his replacement. Iheanacho was brought in to fill the void. And what kind of void he's filling, I'm really struggling because I thought he'd be brilliant, but he's really proving me wrong at the moment.
Yeah, it is a problem. It is a problem because we've got to score to win games. We need to win games. And we've beaten some fairly poor teams who we played recently. Mm-hmm. But the fixtures coming up, we've got some strong opponents. So yes, we've got to be having more shots on target than we've been having in some games. To say he's not concerned was a ridiculous statement. You've got to be concerned because we were never going to win the game because we didn't have a shot on target, and so we couldn't win unless it was an own goal. Does that go down as a shot on target if it's an own goal for us, by the way? Do you know? No, I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. But like I said, you've got to have your strikers or midfield, well, anybody for that matter, in range, trying to find the target. How many other teams do we see where goals come in? I mean, the guy at Leeds United who's been scoring loads of goals. Is it Firpo? He's been scoring quite a few recently, hasn't he? I mean, he's not a midfielder or a forward, but he's getting himself into positions where he's having a strike. So yeah, the lack of shots on target, of course, it's a concern.
Yeah, and something John brought up there, Jacob. We're not getting the positions because we're really not, and that's the more concerning bit for me. You can go into games and not have the shots on target, and I fully get that. We don't look like, especially on Saturday, we didn't look like we were getting any sort of position until about the 89th minute, when all of a sudden Bergson had a goal, and we started forcing a couple of mistakes out of Luton. That's probably the most frustrating bit about it all.
Yeah, I mean, again, like to throw a bit of a spanner in the works, even though, yes, of course, we missed Lath. We only won 2 out of the last 9 games he played as well. So these issues they haven't just turned up in the last couple of weeks. They've been here for months now. And yeah, we just, again, a question. We made 1 sub all game. And Iheanacho stayed on the pitch somehow. Conway was the one who got took off. Didn't really understand that one. I just, like you said, we're not even getting in the positions. You look, we've had over 55% of the ball again. My question is where are we having the ball? We're keeping the ball around our goal, but there isn't any fast moving passes, breaking any lines or anything. That we didn't create anything. And it is concerning, and I think Carrick should know better than that to use that statement in a when you need to try and get fans behind you and convince people like me that, give them a bit more time and stuff like that, to come out and say after another pretty crap performance, I'm not concerned. It certainly isn't going to win many people over. I think if anything, it's a bit of an insult to the fans that, know that there's plenty to be concerned about. And then to use the pitch, the weather wasn't great, it was sunny, the pitch was dry. And, you just think, the second bottom or bottom of the league, whatever they are, and how many teams have went there and rolled them over, even the average teams, they've won there. They haven't been great there. And you look at us and, we're moaning about it being a bit sunny. And again, I think that shows his limitations. Is if he knew this, why didn't we adapt our game then? He said, I told the players before the game what to expect. Well, bloody hell, if that's us knowing what to expect, well, we're buggered when we don't know what to expect.
Yeah. But the thing is, he's on about the subs there. We've got an international break coming up. Has Tommy Conway been called up for Scotland?
Not sure about. I know. Travis and Finners have been called up. I know that.
Yeah, because I'm just wondering. Why take our top scorer off?
No.
When. Sorry.
Oh yes, he has. Yes, he has.
He has, right? Yeah. So yeah, okay, fair enough. Then I'll give Carrick the benefit of the doubt then. But even so, if he's took him off so that he didn't do a full 90 minutes before international duty, his priority has got to be Middlesbrough Football Club, not Scotland. But yeah, Iheanacho was the obvious candidate to be hooked, and how he stayed on for 90 minutes. Well, I've not seen an argument from anyone yet to sort of be in favour of Michael Carrick's judgment to leave him on the pitch. So no shots on target, no real service to the forward line, limited movement from Iheanacho. It was difficult. When you look at those things, plus the fact that we had our keeper as man of the match, we were fortunate to come away with a point, maybe a massive point towards the end of the season. Who knows? But we were fortunate to come out with the point, and I was happy with that point after the display. I wouldn't have been happy at 3:00. But at the end of the display, I was happy with that point.
Yeah, we escaped. We definitely escaped with something, which we shouldn't have for me. I don't think we deserved a thing from the game, but we got something. It was a really weird end to the game, though, because when you're looking at the results around the league, not just for us, obviously Luton are fighting for their lives at the moment. At the point in the second half, Plymouth and Derby were drawing 2-2. Mm-hmm. And surely that should have been a message from Matt Bloomfield to his players. Right, press, go get a winner, because they seem to sit off and think, okay, 0-0 is about right. Okay, I think you had a couple of chances in the second half. I don't remember Travers making an unbelievable save in the second half. I know they had a header that went just wide from McGuinness, but apart from that, I don't really remember much from Luton that was really threatening. It's like they gave everything in the first half.
I was about to say they put so much into that first half. That maybe it was a bit of tiredness. I don't know, but they weren't as potent second half, and they took Adebayo off, didn't they? Which which was a bit of a surprise. But yeah, we come more into the game second half. Whether it was because they sort of stepped off the gas, or whether we improved slightly after a bit of a half-time talk. Whatever the reason, we had a touch more threat second half, but there was nothing really where I could pick out of that 90 minutes where I thought at any one stage of the game that we are going to go on to get this. It was Middlesbrough 0, whatever Luton's score was. It was Middlesbrough 0 all game, which which is poor really.
Yeah, and a massive worry. Because we're going to talk about the running in a few minutes. It's a worry, massive worry. Trying to blame opposition pitch for the reason why we couldn't get a shot on target. I'm sorry, come on. Good on them. Good on them. We're making it as difficult as possible. They want to put the advantages to themselves. They're the home team. That's what they're there for.
Well, if the pitch is bubbly, then strike it first time rather than trying to run with the ball and dribble. It's going to bubble all over. So, but if you strike it, it's flying through the air, and you might have a little bit of luck. If they knew that pitch was bubbly, if they had complained at half time and the exchanges in the dressing room was, oh, well, Gaffer, the pitch is a bit bubbly, or Carrick was saying to the players, I can see that it's bubbly. He should have said, right, don't run with the ball then. When you're in distance, have a strike.
Exactly. It can't be in that bubbly when we keep the ball more than we actually did. Must be able to do that a bit better. So yeah, it was a really disappointing excuse to pull. Especially say he wasn't concerned about the shots on target. I thought, come on, everyone's concerned about that. You're never going to win a game of football if you don't have a shot on target. So, unless, like you said, an own goal, which is very rare anyway. So, yeah, it wasn't good enough. But yeah, I won't talk about our man in the match because we've already said it. Mark Travers was brilliant.
Yeah, I'm in agreement.
Yeah. So. One thing I'll speak about before we talk about the running, you put a question up, didn't you, about our weakness in the team. Which area of the team is our weakness at the moment? So I'll let the comments flow through from that. I thought about it. Well, I'll let you think about Jacob, but John, I'll hand over to you because you've had quite a bit of response on this one.
Yeah, there was loads of replies on Twitter, and to be fair, the vast majority were saying everywhere. They were saying from 1 to 11 in the dugout and in the boardroom. I was looking for a particular area of the pitch that we struggled the most. There was one or two who come out and said, for me it's all over, but for me generally midfield, and that's the point I was wanting to make. I think our midfield is the weakest area, and I know we've conceded loads and loads of goals due to us playing out from the back. Not so much recently, but over the course of the season. But I just think that all the other goals we've conceded have come from teams who've just absolutely walked through our midfield. I mean, go back to Swansea. Azaz and Whittaker lost the ball. Swansea won it. Then that said, Eom runs with the ball unchallenged. Hackney doesn't threaten him by getting shoulder to shoulder with him and making him feel as though he's got to make a quick move with the ball before he's dispossessed. He just had loads of space and time to pick his shot and score, and it's happened quite a lot this season. And I just think if I was to say where I thought our weakness was, in general, it would be midfield, and it would be the lack of strength and sort of discipline in our midfield. Like I said, I went through the messages before we come on tonight, and some were very funny. The vast majority were saying, well, we haven't got a strong point. It's weaknesses all over the pitch, and that's fair play. That's people's opinions, and that's how it is. That's what you'll get when we've had such a disappointing run from the new year onwards. And Jacob said it earlier, the likes of Johnny Howson, if he'd have been in our team and offering that midfield strength and experience and knowledge to when to kill the game, when to slow it down. I agree with Jake. He could have earned us a few more points, and it doesn't need to be 9 or 10. It just needs to be 4 or 5. Because if we had them extra 4 or 5 points, we'd be sitting in the playoffs.
Exactly. That's what it's going to come down to, I feel, when you get towards the end of the season. It's going to be the last few points. But, yeah, I mean, the people that are popping through on Facebook, on the Facebook live feed, Ian McIntosh, midfield, Sean Murray, central midfield, Jason Craig, midfield. There's a key word in there. It's midfield, if you didn't guess.
What do you lads think? What's your thoughts?
I'll start with you, Jacob.
Obviously on paper it would be defence, but the defence hasn't been the issue in the last 4 or 5 games, definitely not. So based on the last 4 or 5 games, I don't know. I'd still like to see like a pacey winger come in. Especially one on the left side. Just someone with a bit more of a goes against the grain and doesn't just bring the ball back inside and play the easy option. Might heaven forbid someone takes someone on and have a shot. It would just be nice for someone to knock and run, get a ball in the box, or knock and run, cut in, have a shot. Just again, but that's why I like Bergsorg even at the beginning of the season, where some people were critical of him. I always liked him running through the middle of the pitch and in that 10 role, because he might frustrate you at times, but he tries to do things, whereas others that take the easy option. And I think we're still 1 or 2 players away from having a bit of a good arrogance about them, and I'm going to be the one to flip this game on its head, and drag the team through a difficult moment. I still think we lack 1 or 2 with a bit of bite about them, especially on the flanks.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Jason just put pacey winger, Ben Doak, ? We won't see Ben Doak again. Let's face that. We won't see him again. Oh, might as well forget about him. But I think it's obvious it's the midfield. The metal in midfield we haven't quite got. When they're on the game, Hackney and Morris we've said it numerous times this season, they're the best partnership in the Championship. They complement each other so well. But that's 1 in 10. We have 1 in 10 games. The other 9, we've got no. There's no oomph behind them. There's the 50-50s are just, we know which way it's going. I struggle with the midfield sometimes, and the gap. We either leave too much of a gap or too little of a gap. There's no in betweens with us. We don't set up perfectly. I'm not saying we're the perfect team, but surely you should know your positions and where you should be on the pitch. And I just feel like that sometimes they sit on the toes of the centre-backs, or they're just too far forward and there's too much space in between them. And I feel like we just haven't got that right this season. And unfortunately, the leadership part of it is going to come into it, because we've got no leaders screaming at them saying, what you're doing there, step 5 yards forward or step 5 yards back, because no one's listening to each other. It's the sad thing. And unfortunately, we've got a manager who's quite happy to just stand there and just let it happen. I'd be screaming. I'd be absolutely screaming at times. He's just very lackadaisical, and I know he's a passionate guy because we've met him and we spoke to him, and he gets it, and he came from the same kind of background we all did, but he's not a screamer and a shout, and sometimes you need a bit of that, and we just don't have that. And
he must have warm pockets and a scratchy beard or something, because that's all I see him do. He seems to spend a lot of his time like this, but doesn't really come up with much ideas, and he must have a few hand warmers in his pockets.
No, he's got beard oil. He's got a tin of beard oil in there, right? And he unscrews it, sticks his fingers in, screws it back up, and then he does his beard. So he's got to keep it in proper condition. I was just reading through some of the replies on Twitter to the question, and one from Paul Weeds, it made me laugh. He said, "We are weak in every area on the pitch and in the dugout. Apart from that, it's great." And there's loads of other ones. Yeah, loads of other ones. Mark Carroll has just answered it when I said, "What's the weakness?" He said, "The team part." yeah, yeah. There's loads of good ones. Yeah, some good replies. But yes, so yeah, thanks for everybody who replied on Facebook Live and also on social media on Twitter. Yeah, it's good to get other opinions.
Exactly, and we'll get more and more opinions next week. But say obviously we'll have Oxford to preview next week, but we'll talk. We'll find a filler. We'll speak to you about something that we'll put out on the socials for you to get involved in and get us talking about. But let's talk about the running. So obviously we've got a bit of time to talk about the running. It's 8 games left. We've got now. We played with the 38. We've played now.
Yeah.
8 games. I'd say 7 of them are tough. No disrespect to Oxford at all. We all know what's coming now. But we've got a tough April. We've said that for months. Our running is really tough. But you said, John, you look at other teams, West Brom, they're just as bad. And you were saying just before we went on air, as much as I've been sat here going, well, season's been over for a while now, you were of a completely different opinion.
Well, I am, and I know I'm in the minority, and I know that, but that's it's. I'm entitled to have my opinion, just like everybody else, and I just I just think, why give up? Never give up. And you look at the next set of games. I mean, Coventry are away to Sheffield United. Let's have a look. Sunderland play Millwall, who are down by us. West Brom are away to Norwich. Bristol City are away to Burnley. And then we've got home to Oxford. So let's just think about it. If results go our way on that next set of games after the international break, we could be level on points with the team in the playoffs, and only out of the playoffs on goal difference. We could be. I'm not saying we will, but we need the team performances to improve massively. We all know that. We've said that consistently over the last months, but you're still in with a shout. And why give in? Why think we can't do it when realistically it's not going to happen, but potentially it could. It could. And let's take a game at a time, and start off, get the result we need against Oxford, and then see what the other teams around us have done, and then go on from there.
And then we'll come to the side of the coin. Jacob, are you of the same opinion?
Well, it's not like I'm choosing to be negative. Of course, the point is, if we were playing decent, you'd be optimistic. If Borough fans could see performances over the last 2 months to think, you know what, we're right in this, and we deserve to be, and we've put a run together. But we've kind of just come off 6 defeats in a row. We've picked up the last couple of weeks, but performances haven't picked up too much. Again, we find ourselves 3 points off. So yes, you've got to get behind the team, get behind the manager for the last 8 games, of course, because we're only 3 points off the playoffs. But I look at the next 2 games, which is Oxford and Blackburn. Oxford, they'll have a good go. Gary Rowett's a good manager. They're competing every game they play. Blackburn, since Ismail's come in, look quite poor. So they're not on a great run either. So I think if we can, I think we need 6 points out the next 2 games, and hopefully some performances, and then we can kind of attack the other games, with hopefully a bit more positivity. But the team and the manager, they need to give us a couple of good performances with wins to reignite some belief within everybody. Because it is crazy to think how negative I am and other people are, but we are 3 points off the playoffs. So it is a bit crazy, and that doesn't mean we should all be really like happy clappers and buzzing, because they don't deserve us to be, because they haven't played well. But again, like I say, we're in it. We've got to fight for it, and you know what? Why can't we get in there? We can.
But your team talks a class, aren't they? You literally just went right round the right round. It's unbelievable. I was like, fair enough.
Yeah. Jacob, can I ask you, are you a Carrick man in the changing room with your team, or are you a Warnock man?
Well, I don't know. You'd have to ask. You'll have to ask Owen and the other lads. But I don't know. I think I can mix. I think I mix it up. I'll say I mix it up. I don't keep my hands in my pockets as much. No, I'm probably more of a Warnock. Yeah.
He hasn't got the same sort of budget as Carrick for hand warmers. But fair enough. Nah, I can see where people are coming from. I mean, the shocking form we've had since obviously before Christmas all the way till beginning of March, we've been horrendous. We've been absolutely horrendous. Yet we're still 3 points off the playoffs, which is crazy. I mean, Ian's just put there, it's like someone above is helping, which is really weird.
Yeah.
I've never known Ian as a religious man. And then Sean pops up as he does. Blackburn haven't won under their new boss, so we all know what's coming. Yeah, cheers for that. About 4,000 or 5,000 of us going on that Friday night to Ewood Park to watch a 1-0 Blackburn. Can't wait for that. But everyone's right. I mean, Jason's been absolutely screaming that we're still in this playoff run, and fair enough. I can see where he's coming from because we are. I'm a bit of a realist when I look at the performances and I look at what's been happening. I can't look at the team that's won, what is it, six games in 20 now or something like that.
22 or something, isn't it? 6 wins in 22 or something like that.
See, there's the eternal optimist there. 6 games in 22, you know what I mean? That's not good enough. That's nowhere near good enough.
Absolutely. And I'm not saying these people are wrong who are saying we're not going to make it. Realistically, we're not going to make it, but we have that chance. We have that slim chance. The bookies are still giving us odds to be promoted. If we had no chance, they wouldn't give us odds. Yes, there are other teams who are much, much stronger favourites than us, and rightly so. But while there's a chance, I won't give up.
The bookies have given us odds. If there was a donkey running the national, I'm sure the bookies would give him some odds. What an argument that is. Well, the bookies have given us some odds. Well, I mean, you are right.
Yeah.
we are still in the betting for promotion.
Yeah. What sort of odds would the donkey get in the derby? I mean, let's be honest. We are 12-1 to get promoted.
The donkey won't be that.
They're not outrageous odds, but I know what you mean. You can get odds for anything. I do understand that. And the way we've played recently would scream that we're out of it. But the table shows something different, and if we can win at Oxford and a couple of other results go our way, like I said earlier, we might find ourselves even closer to the top 6.
Exactly.
I'm just hoping that the team can pull out some performances like we've had early on in the season, where we've looked really good, really fluid, played with purpose. I'm still hoping for that.
Yeah, I am. I mean, give me 2 weeks off. I might feel a bit different about it all. When I speak next week about previewing the Oxford game and really getting stuck into the last 8 games, I probably will be feeling a bit different. I felt the life flow out of me when I watched us against Luton on Saturday. And it was really disappointing, and I felt like, again, like against Swansea, it felt like an end of season game, and I was like, no team can play like this and get in the playoffs. I mean, it could be worse. There's worse situations. The Sunderland fans screaming for their manager to go now.
Yeah,
they're fourth in the league.
That's how sort of, shall we say, erratic fans are on social media. Of every club. Yeah, and they're obviously comfortably going to make the playoffs, but obviously they're now concerned as to where they'll finish and who they'll play. If they were to sort of slip down and end up playing Burnley over a two-legged game, that they won't be confident going into that. But like I said, get yourself in the playoffs and see what happens. See what happens. You can have a bit of luck, and luck does play its part in team success.
Of course, it does. The playoffs is a lottery. End of the day, it is a lottery. No one would have expected Luton Town to go up a couple of years ago when they did. But the only thing I'd warn for Sunderland fans, I was going to say if to listen, because no one's going to be listening, let's face it. We were in the same position as them 2 years ago. Look what happened. I
mean,
I've said that a few times in the team. I'm not learning, so.
It was Luton who we played, wasn't it? And I think they beat us 2-1. Is that right? We were both comfortably in the top 6. What was it?
3-1.
Is it 3-1? Sorry, we were both comfortably in the top 6. And yeah, it felt as though from that game for us, we sort of like eased off a little. Whether it be to keep our players fresh or whatever, but we just couldn't pick it up again, could we? We couldn't get that momentum going again, and we had Coventry away 0.
Is your headset died? That's superb if it has. But yeah, I fully get your point. We went to Coventry and yeah. But like Ian's just said, I'd love to get Sunderland in the playoffs and plant the flag in the middle of the pitch. I'd love that.
I'm back.
There he's back. There we go. So yes, Coventry 0-0 playoffs. Go on.
Yeah, somebody interrupted me. And then obviously we brought 0-0 back to the Riverside, and then we know what happened in the second leg. So yeah, let's see what happens if we can get ourselves into the top 6, and it might be that we just pick up from now and go into the playoffs with a little bit of momentum, unlike we did a couple of years ago when we'd slowed ourselves down and then couldn't restart again.
Exactly. I've said to a couple I've spoken to at work, if you don't learn from what we did, you won't go up. You'll be nowhere near it. Funny enough, they didn't want to talk about football today, so it was quite quiet. Wonder why. But no, you're right. And Jake was right as well. We've just got to back the lads for the last 8 games. There's no ifs or buts now. It's going to be a slog. It's going to be tough. There's some really tough games in there. We've got Leeds at home. We've got, let's say, Blackburn away. It's still tough. Sheffield Wednesday away is going to be tough. Coventry away is definitely going to be tough. Last game of the season. Millwall away. That's always tough at the Den. I do like the Den. Like that's a proper old school ground. I do like going to the Den.
It's better than Luton.
For a way, it's better than Luton. I'll give you that. I'm going to find this poll now. Yeah, we'll dig into the last 8 games a bit more next week. Send your thoughts in about how you think we'll do. Please don't send 0 points because I just won't read it out. I'm not dealing with that negativity. We'll leave it out.
Yeah, okay.
Go on.
No, I was just going to say we have to give everybody's opinions, because I was having a discussion on Twitter with somebody who was saying that we shut down people's opinions.
Oh, really? Oh. Well, we'll shut down yours. There you go. No, not really. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, like you rightfully said at the beginning of the podcast. But yeah, please don't just come on and go, we'll get 0 points, because we're not going to get no points, are we? Come on, we're going to get something, even if it is 1. But we'll talk about that next week.
We're going to get loads saying 0 points now. You know that, don't you?
No, we're going to have to read them all out, aren't we? And just look like idiots.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, bring it on. But just like that, we're all done. John, Jacob, have a good week. Rest, recuperate. Get ready for next week. Jacob, take some of them wise words you've just said into your team talk at the weekend. Feedback
Grow a
on
beard.
Monday how it went. Yeah, grow a beard. Get some gloves. And to
And
you,
some
lovely
beard oil.
people, let's comment, like, subscribe. Just got involved with our podcast. Go see Jack Dobson's page as well. He's got a Just Giving page for what he's doing. He's raised a lot of money so far. Keep giving him some cash if you can. And we'll talk again next week. Hopefully with a bit more positivity than we just brought you. Yeah, bring on the last 8 games. Up the Borough. Be seeing you. Arrivederci.
Up the butter.